So here we are in Heroes of Darkwell, and as you can see, it's a deck building board game in which you're going to be having up to 4 players play. To begin the game, you're going to give everybody a single character card that also has a upgraded character that they can get by leveling up. So you just go ahead and pass out each of these characters to each player that is going to want to play the game, with at least up to 2 players. Now, once you go ahead, you can see the librarian, he actually can turn into a wizard. You set that aside. You're going to get a deck of cards, and it's going to be 7 basic strike cards and 3 basic training, along with a specialized skill card for that specific character. And there are 4 different specialized skill cards over here that you'll be using. The rest of them go into the deck. You're also going to have a currency in the game. This is just for buying certain kinds of shop items, mainly your consumables and stuff that can help you with your skills. But these cards, we're going to go out for the part of the setup. Just going to go ahead and drop off, I believe, 6 of them, just like this, onto the board. And then you can go ahead and choose these at certain points of the game when you want to buy certain shop items. This is the next portion where you'll be buying stuff, but this is actually you'll be buying for experience, and these is where you can buy abilities and skills and attacks, and they'll say different things. This is a skill, there's certain tactics, melee, and then there's also like instance, and there's range, and all that good stuff, and you can buy them with EXP, whereas these up here are for gold. You're also going to get this big solid strike stack that is just like the basic strike, but does a little bit more damage, especially if your hero is evolved, and you can go ahead and buy that at any point in time during the game. You're going to have tokens throughout the game. You got blue ones that are going to be used for respawning if you ever die throughout the game. You've also got white ones over here for experience, green for poison, and red for health. If you ever start losing health, you're going to be putting those on you. Whenever you gain experience, you can use experience until the end of your turn. Now, for each player in the game, you're going to have 3 different types of monsters. You have type 1, 2, 3, and bosses. And you get 3 monsters per character in the game, or per player. So in the 4-player game, you would take 3, 6, 9, and 12. Then you would shuffle these cards up and put it into a deck. So if we're playing a 4-player game, you got 12 here. You can select 12 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And this is for this type 2. And you're going to be putting it 1, 2, and then 3, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And within this type 3 here, you're going to take the bosses, 1 or 2, depending on the scenario. And you're going to shuffle them in and put them into the bottom of the deck. So 3 at the bottom, 2, and then 1. So you'll be fighting easier monsters to start with, and as you go throughout the deck, you'll be fighting harder monsters. This is the track the monsters are going to go down. Every turn, a monster is going to flip out, and additionally, every monster that's already on the board is going to move. If at any point in time the monster gets here, or any monsters get there, the game is over. You're also going to be getting treasure cards. Whenever you kill monsters, you can gain treasure, and they're very simple. Sometimes you're going to get poisoned from getting treasure, or simply gain money, as well as I believe there's a couple other things in here, like you can pick an item up from the stack for free, which is really cool. You're also going to have condition cards, and last but not least, which are going to show that you are poisoned, exhausted, scared, terrified, that kind of stuff. And these things can go into your deck if you suffer these as penalties. And whenever you draw them, you might have to suffer some kind of effect. But that is the basic components and the overlay and how to set up a game of 4 players for Heroes of Darkwell. Okay, so now you've seen the setup. Well, the first thing you do in the game, if it's your turn, is draw 5 cards. After you do that, if your character has any wound markers on him, you're going to take off 2 of those wound markers. So you're always going to heal 2 health on your turn. Then, if you have any poison counters, there are going to be these little green things here, you're going to take that amount of damage equal to the amount of counters you have. So if you have 3 of them, you'll take 3 damage. Then you're going to remove one of those poison counters. After that, monsters are going to take poison damage, but they don't get to remove the counters. So if a monster has 3 poison on it, it's going to take that 3 damage and stick with those 3 counters for next turn. After that, you can then buy items. There's a bunch of items on the board here, and you can purchase them as many as you'd like, provided that you have the gold. Most of them are consumable, so once you use them, they're gone forever. However, some of them are equipment, and those are usually the better ones. Then you're going to reveal cards from the shop first, 1 card from the shop, and put it down. If you put it down on a stack that already has cards, and it's more than two cards, so it's a 3rd card, you're going to get rid of the bottommost card. So you can only have a stack of 2 per each thing. If you have more, that's okay, but they're just going to get removed. Then you're going to go ahead and put a new skill card or ability card up on following the same rule set. After that, you're going to then reveal a monster from the dungeon. You're going to take one of the monsters, you're going to put it down onto the dungeon, and if there's already monsters there, you're going to move those so that it makes space for it. If the monster deck is empty, all the monsters that are currently on the board are still going to move forward to get to that last spot. However, if there's still monsters in the deck, then they're not going to move unless they can be pushed up, which I'll show you in a little bit. After you do that, you're going to then reveal any condition cards you might have in your hand. And these guys are like fatigued and that kind of stuff. If you have any of those conditions, you have to do whatever they say and then hopefully be able to get rid of them. After you go ahead and do that, you can then attack a monster or monsters, but you have to attack one at a time. You do one of your cards, attack back and forth. You might be able to put some combos in, but every time your monster takes damage, he's going to do damage back to you, especially if it's a melee attack. If it's a ranged or a spell, they won't be doing damage to you. But otherwise, every time you attack, the monster might hit you back, and some of them might be reflective or have all these different abilities and such. But the idea is you're going to go back and forth brawling with these monsters. Now, if you're going to do the last bit of damage to it, so if it has 5 health and you do 3, it'll hit you back. But if you do another 3, it won't hit you because it'll be dead. After that, then if the monster is still alive, or if you want to actually kill more monsters, you could, if you wanted to. Maybe there's you can do 20 damage on a turn, and there's a monster with like 5 health. You could look for trouble, and looking for trouble means you can pull 3 of these monsters, up to 3 of these monsters from the deck and put them in front of you, and then you can fight them. If any of them survive, however, they're going to do damage to you, and then it's going to pass your turn. If you die, any monsters that are left over from looking for trouble are going to go to your opponent or your friend, depending on what type of gameplay you're playing. After that, you can then go ahead and buy items. After you're done attacking, you can buy items again, or buy spells with the experience you use. Throughout any of this process, you can also be using EXP cards, like the basic training and stuff like that. That will give you experience, and monsters will give you experience as well as treasure included. And you can buy anything you want that you're able to afford. At the end of your turn, though, you're going to lose all of your experience, so keep note of that. Then you're going to discard or trade anything you want with your friends. You can trade different gold, you can trade items, consumables, that kind of stuff. And then you're going to discard all the cards that are in play, all the cards that are like you've used, that are all done up. You're going to go ahead and clean up the entire field. You're going to level up if you can. Every monster has a bit of experience, and each of your characters will tell you how much experience you need in order to get to that next character level, which has different abilities for you. Finally, you're then going to discard as many cards as you like from your hand, and then draw back up to 5 cards. Then rinse and repeat for the next player all the way around in the circle until it's your turn again. Okay, so back to the setup game. Let's go ahead and take a couple turns to show you how it works. So we'll start with the librarian. He's going to go ahead and draw his 5 cards after he shuffled his deck, and he's going to look at his hand. Now the basic stuff is going to be basic training, basic strikes, and he luckily got his good card, because it normally starts with 11 and he drew 5, so he got a nice one here. And this one says he can heal a target player for a book symbol. He'll then look at his character card. It tells him what symbols he's got. He's got fight, agility, the book symbol, and the star symbol there. And it's going to be equal to the symbol there. So it's 3 health, or it removes up to 3 condition points from their hand. Each condition card has a value of points on it. So 2 points for this specific one called Scared. So this would get rid of 1 card, and if another player had another card with only worth 1 point, he can get rid of both of those cards from his hand if I played this card. So this is a good heal card. It also says then you can add 2 EXP tokens to your pool, which is these little white things, and you can use these to buy abilities. You can't use them to level up though, but you can use them to buy abilities. As well as you can also cycle this card, and target player gains a health and removes 1 condition card from their hand. So if somebody wanted only 1 health or had a 1 condition point in their hand, I could cycle this, and cycling is simple as well. You'll simply discard this card to your graveyard, and then you can draw a new card into your hand. So I don't think I'm going to do that, though. I think I'm actually just going to use this card for its EXP, its basic experience. So I'm going to go ahead and play this card and discard it. That's going to give me 2 experience. Remember, experience goes away at the end of the game, though. So at the end of the round, sorry. At the end of the round is when experience goes away. Now, so that just as an example, but now we're going to continue with the turn. So you're going to remove wounds from your character up to 2. You're going to have the poison do damage. So if there was 1 poison on it, it would do 1 damage to him. And then afterwards, you're going to remove poison from a character. So that would remove that, and we leave the wound here. But luckily, we have no wounds and no poison, so no big deal at all. Then we're going to go ahead and buy items if we want to. Unfortunately, we don't have any of that money, so we can't buy it. But if we could, it would be up here, and it tells you the amount of money it costs, as well as whether it's equipment, which means it stays forever, or consumable, which means you use it, it's a one-shot item. Afterwards, you're going to then reveal an item from the shop card and put it down on any of these stacks here. So we'll go ahead and put it right up here. So if this was the 3rd card, then this one get removed, but it's not, it just stays like that. You could buy this card back here, but it's going to cost you 1 additional point, so this would be a 4 to a 5 now. However, if you buy the Scroll of Skill, which is for 7, you can then buy this for 4. But any card that's underneath is going to cost 1 more point. Then you're going to move on to revealing a skill card and placing it anywhere on this tactics board as well. Let's go ahead and put it right there. Same thing works with the skills. And then we're going to move on to revealing a monster card. Take that monster and put it right there. If this monster was, this was later on in the game, this monster was right here, and it was my turn and I reveal the monster, nothing would happen. However, if the monster is starting right here, and it was the next player's turn, this monster would move and the new monster would be put down. Now that that monster is put there, he actually doesn't hurt you unless you hurt him. He's just trying to make it to this town over here. If he makes it to here, he's going to win the game. The bad guys will win, the good guys will lose. So the monster has been revealed, and any conditions you would have in your hand, which we don't have any conditions, we just have basic strikes and basic training. So we're fine there. Then we're going to attack as many times as we want. So this monster here has, let's go ahead and look at the health of the monster, 3 health right there. So if I want to attack it, I would use one of my basic strikes, and it would do 1 damage to a monster, or if I was a hero, which is my evolved form, I would do 2 damage. But I'm just a singular basic hero dude, or basic villager guy, so I only do 1 damage to him, so it just goes 1 damage. And then he also has a combat of 1, so he would also hit my character for 1. Remember, I'm at 7 health, so if I go below that, I die. Then my card will go away. And then maybe I can do another basic strike, right? Ooh, and I can. So another 1 damage. And once again, he would do 1 damage to me. And one more time, basic strike. Nice. So now he only has 3 health. So on the 3rd damage, he dies and he's not able to strike me back. So this monster would go. I would gain 0 treasure, which is right there, and 4 EXP. So it's going to give me 4 more points of experience to spend on skills later this turn. This monster then will go into my pool of monsters that I can save up, and if I get enough to equate out to 10 points, then I'm going to be able to level my character up. Also, on reveal, this says to discard a card at random, so I forgot about doing that. But all these monsters, when they pop out, are going to have a specific ability, most of them, and they're going to make you do something bad. So let's just pretend like he maybe get rid of basic training at random, which is a card that lets me gain a +1 experience point to my pool. Good job, I was lucky in that. You get it anyway, right? So this monster will go back there. My basic strikes have been all used up, and I've got my experience points. Now, I'm not going to look for trouble, obviously. It's way too early in the game, and I have more damage to do, so that would be a bad idea. But if I want, I can now go ahead and trade items or skills or whatever. Not skills, but any items or money or whatever like that with my friends. I'm going to discard all the cards that we've used into the discard pool. So we'll go ahead and just over here so you guys know this is the used pile. And I've got my monster here that I killed, and it sits there for either a competitive game, or it will equate to me winning based on victory points, or as well as leveling my character up. Then I'm going to go ahead and try and level up, and I can't, don't have 10 points. Discard any cards that I don't want, which I have none, and then I'm going to drop to 5 cards. 3, 4, and 5. And I got my new hand of cards, which are again basic strikes and basic training. Now I could have, like I said, I could have bought some stuff. I guess I will. Before I draw my top 5 cards, whatever, I'll put that there. But there's a bunch of skills I can get for experience points. And obviously I want them to be equating to the skills I have, which are going to be books and the star and even the boots. So we'll just go ahead and pick up something that's cheap and good. 4 and 2. That's fine. So this one cost me 4, and this one says place 2 damage tokens on this Song of Valor, and you may spend each token to add 1 damage to target player's attack or heal target player 1 damage. If you spend all the tokens on it, add 3 XP to your XP pool, and when there are no tokens left, discard this card. So it's kind of like a healing protection portal, whatever. But yeah, it's going to go here. Really good. Then I lose my experience. And finally, the last thing for 2, I'll go ahead and get another card here, Haggle. And this one says if you spend up to 3 gold, you can spend up to 3 gold as if on this turn as if you were spending up to 3 XP. So you can basically turn EXP into gold. That's pretty solid too. And that would cost me 2. If I didn't use this experience and I just drew the cards into my turn, all my experience would go away at the end of turn. It's not going to stay, unlike the monster XP. So okay, then I would draw my cards and I'd place it here. And then we go for the next turn. When you buy skills and spells, they do not regenerate. You only get that 1 additional per turn, so be very aware, and make sure to save some for your allies as they try and kill monsters as well. So back up to the same thing. This guy's going to draw his 5 cards. Look at them. Remove wounds and whatnot. He's not going to do that. No poison to deal with. Monsters take poison. Item buys can't do that. Reveal a shop card. Once again, we'll just go ahead. 1 there. New skill card goes up. New monster comes down. And that one says, on reveal, you take 2 damage. So I would just take 2 damage instantly. Bam. Owie. And then reveal conditions. I do them. Okay, I don't have any conditions in my hand. Obviously, nothing like these nasty things yet. Attack 1 at a time. So let's see if I can kill this guy. He's got 4 HP. I've got basic strike. I got 4 basic strikes, I can do it. But he does 2 damage to me every hit. So that would actually kill me if I did that. It'd be 2, 4, 6, plus the 2 here, which is 8, which would kill me. So I am simply going to do 2 hits on him. And he's going to be hit once, and then hit me twice. And then he's going to be hit once, and he'll do 2 more damage to me again. Very painful. And these are going to get discarded. And then after that, I think I'll use my basic training. I don't know. It's not going to do me any good right now, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I think I will just go ahead and pass turn. I don't want to trade, I can't buy anything, can't level up. So the next player is going to get to go, and on his turn he'll get rid of his 2 health, and rinse and repeat, and the process will continue as monsters go along down the line, and you're trying to fight them off, getting abilities, getting spells, getting items, purchasing these solid strikes, and if the monsters ever get to here, you lose. If you manage to kill them all, including the boss, you win. And that's how you play the game Heroes of Darkwell. So that's a basic idea how to play the game Heroes of Darkwell. I'm going to go over a couple items and stuff like that for you guys to see, as well as a couple notes I want to make so you guys can have a good idea of how gameplay can actually go. First of all, this is an item, and it's called Impressive Prize. It gives you a +1 to your star trait, and like I said, all your characters have different traits on the far left-hand side here, and you're going to try and get equipment and skills and stuff that are going to work with these, because each one of the symbols on the cards are going to represent the number on this card here. So if your opponent has agility that's a 4 and you only have a 1, you want him to get those cards because it's going to do more damage. So this is going to help you out by forever giving you one of those stars. This is a disposable camp. It gets rid of up to 3 condition points from your hand, and you can use it whenever you want. So if you get conditions from a monster or from a treasure or something like that, you would actually be able to use this card instantly because they're all in front of you. All your items and consumables are in front of you throughout the game. They don't go into your deck. They actually have a different backing, which makes it a lot easier for you to tell that they don't go back there. We've got Enchanted Sword. It gives you +1 to your strength. You've got a Strength Potion. Adds 1 damage to all your attacks for every attack you make this turn. So if you attack 3 times with 3 different cards and they all do 1 damage, you're instead going to do 6 damage. Another card here is Equipment. It gives you +3 to your maximum health, and your maximum health is located on the far bottom left-hand corner. And if you evolve your character up, then he will actually increase. So this will go from 7 to a 9 with the Street Rat to the Marksman. Pretty cool. What else we got here? Scroll of Skill is another equipment card here. This one says when you gain a skill, if there's no skill on this card, you can place it on this card, and you can use it instead of it going to your discard pile. Because whenever you buy a skill, it's going to go to your discard pile. With this one, those skills go on here, and you can use them instantly, which is really, really cool. Disposable camps, again, these are very, very useful, and they come up quite a lot. We've also got a lot of skills, and they have certain ones do different things. When you're attacking monsters, also remember, if it's a melee, they're going to hit you back. But if it's ranged or magical, then they probably won't. Usually be based on the card, but in general combat, melee is what hits back, but marksman, that kind of stuff doesn't actually, you can't be hit by that. You can't, if you shoot an arrow at somebody, they're not going to be swinging a sword at you, basically. You've got Cleave. Do strength +2 damage on a target monster. If you defeat the monster using this card, you can immediately use this card on a different target monster, then discard this card. Very strong. Determination is another skill. Remove a certain amount of condition points from your hand or discard pile. If you remove any condition points from your hand, you get to draw a card, and you can also cycle this card. Very, very good as well. And there's tons of this kind of stuff. Berserking is something that adds damage to each attack this turn, and you can't use another skill or anything, so maybe it gives you +4 to each one of your attacks. Very powerful. Ambush is a tactic. Reveal the top card of the dungeon pile and place it face up. Place it on the lineup. Deal damage to the revealed monster's level. +2 on reveal ability has no effect. So, pretty strong. If it's level 2 monster, you get to do +4 damage. And there's tons and tons of skills. There's an entire deck of these things going on. Remember, you can expend experience on other players' turns, because experience only goes away on your turn. And you're going to draw at the beginning of your turn and at the end of your turn. So keeping your experience pool built up can be very useful in terms of when you're going to be needing to spend at the end of your turn to gain abilities and whatnot. There's tons of different monsters in the game as well. You've got the vampire, you've got serpent queens, you've got bat swarms, the scourge, which is the boss here. And it all tells you the experience, it tells you the damage it deals, it tells you how many treasures you're going to get, money, all that kind of stuff, as well as the abilities here. Like the dragon here is scary. At the beginning of your combat phase, gain a condition card in your hand and resolve it at the end of your combat phase. Take 2 damage. Very scary. Bat Swarm. When Bat Swarm attacks, it hits all players. So even if you attack it, you can still hurt your opponent. And it says takes damage, which means it's not being attacked, it's actually just taking damage. So that can mean a marksman can still be, or a caster can still get hurt, as well as everybody else. Mimics on reveal, you take 4 damage, and each time treasure mimic takes damage, reduce its treasure by 1. So if it starts off with 6 treasure, every time it gets hit, it loses a treasure, to the point where you might not get any treasure at all from it. And there's a bunch of monsters like that.